What's up, everybody? Johnny Disc Golf back again with another off-season interview. This time, I am joined with the newest member of Discrafts Elite Team, Mr. Corey Ellis. How we doing?
Doing good, man. How are you?
I'm doing good. It's been feeling like monsoon season, admittedly, in San Francisco. It's been raining like every day for the past 2 weeks, but I hear you're in Florida right now. How's the weather? I'm jealous.
It's been fantastic so far. Like 75. I think it got up to 80 yesterday. Pretty much it's been great weather until today. Like today it's been cold and there's like a cold front moving in. It's been super windy. I think tomorrow the high is like 53. So it's like I thought I was in Florida, not back home.
Yeah, not very Florida-like. Well, hey, let's get into it, dude. The reason for the season, the announcement. Discraft just put out a video a couple days ago, and now kind of all the players are slowly releasing on their own socials the tour team, or the upgrade from tour team to elite team. How did it all come together? Could you talk about maybe the conversations that went into it? I'm guessing your great season last year played a pretty big part in that.
Yeah, for sure. I left, the door open to hear from other companies and stuff. And, because I just had to weigh all my options for, hear people out what they were going to offer. And Discraft just really didn't want to lose me. I've shown the commitment last year with saying, because, I told myself last year, like before I signed my contract last year, I mean, that I wouldn't be on the team if I didn't get a lead team. But Bob, convinced me, to give him a full year on tour, like a full season, and I made it out west and for the first time, and that was huge, and played every Elite Series event, and that was the big thing, to go towards just putting myself out there to prove that I can do it, and prove that I'm a top level talent. And I think I have plenty of room to grow. But back to your question, like, ask me one more time.
No, it's all good. Just like give me the timeline on when it all came together. You had obviously a couple of really solid finishes last year, especially like, down the stretch, MVP, one of the best finishes you've ever had. So was it at the end of the year that you and Bob maybe started talking about going from tour to elite team? Did it seem like he was planning it all along? Because kind of almost like dangled it in front of you the year before?
Uh, well, no, I wouldn't say that. I would say like I believe they had talks. Like my agent and Bob had like a meeting at USCGC. That's whenever they started talking about the contract. And actually, Bob, was on the fence with me joining the elite team at first, and it took a little bit of a push, but then we kind of made him understand where I was coming from, the commitment that I've given to Discraft up to this point, because it's been since 2018 now I started with them, so this is 5 years, and it seems like yesterday when I just joined the team.
Yeah, it really is crazy. Like I sometimes think about the same thing. 2018 is the first year that I went on tour, making videos for Central Coast, and just to think that it's like the fifth season since I started doing that is just, it's unreal. It's crazy how the time flies, especially when you're on the road, like different week, different place every week. It kind of just boom, boom, boom. Speaking about the being on the road next year, one thing that I know every Elite Series team player looks forward to is that release of discs for next year. Is there any thought to what your disc will be, or then what disc your name will be on?
Well, I really want the buzz, but I've tried. I joked with Chris all last year that I want the buzz, and it's probably not going to happen, and I can't blame him. The buzz kind of sells itself. Everybody loves a good buzz, so
Mm-hmm.
it's not going to be the buzz. I can go ahead and tell you that. But nothing's set in stone yet.
Okay.
I can't really talk about what plastic it is either because we don't really know. Like
Okay.
I would assume it's going to be some type of an ESP, but they're magicians. Sometimes they come up with
Yeah.
some crazy stuff we don't know.
No, that is very true. Like every year, they somehow raise the bar on the crazy plastic that comes out. I remember specifically when Macbeth was talking about shifting from Innova to Discraft. That was his like big thing, is they're pushing the boundaries of the plastic, and just every year it's something new. Any intel if it's going to be something funky or new, or like one of the old classics?
I would. I think something new, something
Cool.
that we haven't really seen before. Um, but again, nothing set in stone. I'm not for
Yeah.
sure on anything.
Well, you are in Florida, and you went to Florida with part of the elite team as really like a media barrage, I believe, as like the leading reason that they got all you guys down there. Talk about that experience, creating content with the whole team. I'm sure Shane, the videographer from Discraft, was probably out there. What was that experience like?
It's been honestly fantastic, man. It's making friendships with people that I haven't really got to connect with because we're all so busy doing our own thing out there on tour. We have our groups that we stay with, but like there's the van lifers, and then there's like Ricky and Ari and I and Emerson. We kind of have our own thing. It's just the way that it goes. You know how it is,
Oh
and
yeah.
um, but it's been nice, get to know the team. We truly feel like we're a team here. It's awesome. We all root for each other, and it's going to be a great year.
Yeah, I think Discraft does do a pretty good job, I think, of like fostering that team attitude and atmosphere. It feels like a lot of the folks are running around almost prodigies in a similar way, where we're caddying for each other. They're running down to spectate each other's rounds. It's good to hear. I want to talk about something else that happened this off season, maybe on a personal side, that you were able to have experience of. Did you take a next big step in your relationship over this off season?
Yeah, Molly and I got married on October 22nd.
Wow, could you talk about that a little bit? Probably monumental.
It was amazing. It was just the day went by so fast. Everyone warned us that it was going to go by fast, and it was like we just blinked and it was over. Like there's so much adrenaline and just anxiety because we've spent so much time planning. Well, Molly has. I'm just playing disc golf all the time.
Yeah.
And it was awesome. Having our family and friends and everybody there. It was a great time,
Did
and
you do a
sometimes
big celebration? Little, like, intimate? What was the
I
paint me the
think we
picture.
had we had okay, so it was in the mountains in West Virginia. It was like 3 or 30 minutes from the nearest store,
Hmm.
way out there, and it was in the perfect time for fall. The leaves were amazing. The drive out was the best. It's on these curvy back roads, and it was just awesome. Just driving to the venue every day. It took 20 minutes. You just went through the most beautiful scenery, and then so it was kind of like a barn, but not really. So it was kind of indoor outdoor. So that had these giant doors on the outside, and uh, like that's where we had the ceremony was inside, and Molly had it just amazing. And we're still actually waiting to get our wedding pictures out, so I'll share all those whenever we get all those edited and everything back. And um, but it was just obviously I'll never forget that moment and
Yeah.
all the people there and how amazing it was. We had some live music from a friend of mine who's also a disc golfer, and it was a great time.
No, that's great. I love it. I always love to, like, every year or every off season, there's kind of like the season of like disc golfer marriages because everyone's so busy during the 9 months. It's always like October, November, December kind of. It seems like every year there's a couple. So super stoked for you. I'm really glad that you're able to do that. I know as well as you how just every single day the tour can be. So just being able to step back, breathe, and like live a personal life for even just a weekend, I bet is just so refreshing.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things I want to shout out is my buddy Nate Abbey. He was able to contact Bob just randomly on Facebook Messenger, and he got us a surprise wedding present, and it was a custom stamped discs made for our wedding, and that's what I wanted to like give people, what like as like a wedding,
Mm-hmm.
how people do. And like it was just so touching, and teared
Oh,
up a little bit when he gave them to me, and I got, people got them and stuff. It was just amazing.
it's so
Just the
nice,
fact
dude.
that Bob was all about it, and was immediately like, yeah, we got to make this happen. It was just so
Mhm.
cool. Or like Discraft to do, and my buddy Nate to do
Yeah.
that. It was awesome.
Yeah, especially women. Honestly, I got a little chilies right here, even just thinking about it, man. That's so cool. I love that. Uh, let's kind of take a pivot to the disc golf course a little bit. I want to talk about last year. What was your like honest reflection? 30,000 foot view. This season's over. How do you feel like last year went for you?
I mean, it was my most successful season. My first year on the full swing of the tour. Uh, it was, just experiences I'll never forget, especially like Portland, like that whole time, that course that we played at Portland, it just seemed like you're on another planet, like you're on Endor in Star Wars. Like it's like you expect some
Yeah.
Ewoks running out of the woods, like.
Mm-hmm.
And to spend like 2 or 3 weeks with Tim Scallinger and his family, like
Mm-hmm.
hosting us, that was amazing. Just like little things like that you sometimes, if you're not sitting down and smelling the roses, you take for granted. The little moments, and that's what I've tried to like really focus on this past year, was appreciate where you are in the world, appreciate what you're getting to do. We throw frisbees for a living, and it's the greatest thing in the world to get to travel and just spend time with all these awesome human beings. Everyone's, for the most part, so nice, and
Yeah.
we're blessed to do this.
No, you hit the nail on the head. Like it can feel like a job, it can feel like work, and you're driving 8 hours, you're driving 10 hours, but to stop and be able to reflect on that and appreciate how much you love having to drive 8 hours or 10 hours,
Yeah.
uh, it's a mindset shift that I think a lot of us on tour or involved with it could take sometimes, especially in like the heat of battle. It can get heated out there. Um, you mentioned in that little sentence that the people that we spend our time with, it's just like reflecting on the fact that we get to spend time with these awesome people around the country. And one person that you spend a lot of time with is Ricky Wysocki. You tour not exclusively with them per se, but a lot of the time you guys are kind of in your little pack traveling together. Ari, like you said, Emerson. um, what what have you learned from like watching Ricky operate at the highest level for a full year now? Player of the year, and you were behind the scenes for most of it. What have you learned from him or from that routine or practice that you've brought into your own game?
Just be willing to hear out what people, constructive criticism. I think that from like from Rick's perspective, if you a lot of people will play around with Rick and they're kind of intimidated because it's like Ricky Wysocki. But I think how we connected was because I wasn't afraid to be like, "Hey Rick, like you lined up wrong. Like I pointed this out," and he really appreciated that. So he, in turn, we feed off of each other, and I think that what I've learned the most is like just the commitment, like the sheer commitment that Ricky gives. Like he gives his heart and soul to this
Mm-hmm.
game, and limbs, like literally,
Yeah.
like hobbling
Yes.
around at OTB, like watch it, knowing how much he was in pain was like inspiring, man. Like to get top five, I think he got top five
Yeah, I think you
at
got fourth or
OTB.
fifth or yeah.
Yeah, and he couldn't plant off his leg. He couldn't even pull his cart. Like Ari
Mm-hmm.
had, that was when Ari first started pulling his cart. It's just like that guy is something else. There's only one Ricky Wysocki.
Very true, and that's on the course, but it also is off the course. He has a lot of time dedicated to like creating content, being available for media, doing like sponsor activations, and all that sort of other stuff. Is that the lifestyle that you would like to live? Like, because that's kind of what it is to be the number one, number two, number three player in the world. After rounds, you're spending an hour if people are there signing autographs. You're everywhere you go, people are recognizing you. You're not quite on that level of like star power yet. Is that something that you aspire to, or is that something that you're like, oh man, I'm gonna have to deal with that once I start winning these things?
I mean, it comes with the territory, man. If that's what it takes, I'm willing to do it. Like I want to be the best in the world, and I feel like I'm on the right path. And they say to surround yourself with greatness if you want to become great yourself, and that's what I try to do. Like this whole time I've been in Florida, I've been trying to hang out with Paul and just soak up as much information and things that I can. That you know, it's weird to be, they're so much like rivals, but I've always been the type of person to be friends with everybody. It's always been like that, and
Mm-hmm.
and uh, it's beneficial to everybody. I think to see different aspects of life and to see where people come from and just know how they came about to do this.
No, it's funny
Yeah,
that you mentioned that. I actually didn't really put that two and two together like that. You're on one hand traveling with Ricky and obviously like a confidant and in his corner in a lot of these like moments, and now you're in Florida with Paul, having getting togethers and doing a team dinner with Paul. It is interesting that you kind of like are in both of those worlds, because I think independently those worlds would never combine. That is cool. I actually appreciate your where you stand on that. Like, you can be friends with everyone and roll in all these different packs. The Van Lifers, the Macbeths, the Wysockis. Um, Moving into this year, do you have any specific goals? Are you somebody that like writes down, I want to finish this? Do you did how a couple of those tournaments ended? I'm thinking D-Glow and MVP. Like, galvanize how good you want to play this year, or do you have specific goals for this year?
I want to win any tournament that I go to. Like, I mean, that's the God's
Yeah.
honest truth, and
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I can win. Otherwise, I wouldn't go.
Yeah.
If I go to a tournament, then I feel like I can win the event. And uh,
It's funny.
just
Disc golf.
I don't really have any goals that I've written down like that. Like that's something that Molly would tell me to do. She always says, write something down so you can remember it and do it step by step. And maybe that's something I can think about and actually do. And who knows, that might actually help.
Never know. I want to talk a little bit about those two finishes that I kind of just mentioned in particular from last season. Um, you were one throw away from, or I guess two throws, one throw in two different situations from being like, I mean, honestly, in the talks of like maybe player of the year, a couple of big wins on tour, at least like, not Ricky, but like some in the conversation for something. Unfortunately, they didn't go your way. And like, how were you able to bounce back from that? Like, D-Glow was probably a little heartbreaking, and then you come back and have another really great performance down the stretch of the season.
So D-Glow, obviously that was heartbreaking to go in a playoff. Hi Rio, sorry, buddy. um, it was just in the moment, it's weird to like you don't see the spectators, you don't even see the cameras. You're just there. You zone out, and you're all that's there is you and whoever you're competing with, in the basket, in the disc. Like, you're just focused so much. And right after it ended, I they asked me to do an interview on the live, and that was so hard, like, just to talk about. And I think sometimes, like, people are so worried about the media, they forget to think about how the person's feelings are, that it just took place. And like, I'm not ashamed to admit that I cried after Digo. Like, it was hard. That was everything I wanted to win. An Elite Series event where all the best players in the world are there, literally, except for Eagle. I think he was the only one. Like, and it was tough, and you just got to move on, man. Like, that's what we live for. We live for those moments, and we just have to take it in stride and move
Mm-hmm.
on. And then to go to MVP, and I had a 3-stroke lead going into the last round, and to lose it really quick, you know, that was tough. But I remember looking at Gannon. I think we were on like hole 6, and I looked at him and said, "I'm not going anywhere." And he looks at me and goes, "Oh, I know you're not." And then, you know, what happened. You know, I got a hot streak, and I just, you know, told myself never give up. That's the big thing this year was never give up, and that showed at MVP. You know what I mean? Like I never look at the scores either,
Mm-hmm.
and I knew I had to to figure out what I needed
Yeah.
to do on the back nine.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at the scores after I threw my drive on hole 14, and I saw that if I birdied out, I would win. I knew I would win, and I put myself in that position, and just, you know, obviously failed to execute the last shot. But people have questioned whether I have thrown a backhand or a sidearm, and I don't doubt my ability at all to throw that sidearm shot. I've thrown it thousands and thousands of times, and I would do it all over again,
Mm-hmm.
except for I would execute the shot this time.
Yeah, yeah. The only change maybe. No, I think I obviously I saw the chatter too. I think I don't know. I mean, people who like throwing backhand said he should throw backhand. People who like throwing sidearm said the sidearm was a good shot. It was all their perspective, not
I would
yours.
like to say that if you go back and watch the live, I Bushnell from my drive, and I shot the wall directly beside the basket, and it said
Mm-hmm.
230 feet. And if you know that hole, it's slightly uphill.
Mm-hmm.
So on live, I think they said it was like 160 or
I know.
something, and
Yeah.
it was much further than 160. It
I
wasn't just a little pitch
I
shot.
have been there many times, like
Yeah,
walking. I've even thrown like my third or fourth shot from there. It was long. Like, to say that that is 160 feet. I didn't know where that came from. Honestly, I don't know
yeah.
where it came from. Yeah.
I think because I threw the drive so far up there, they were just like, "Oh, it's 100." You know.
It's got to be like 100 feet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you said never give up. Honestly, I love that mantra, that mindset. You know, is that something that you're carrying over into this year? Do you have any? Do you have any training? Like, are you doing dedicated practice? For instance, I talked with Gavin Babcock, and he's just switching like plastics to Discmania. You know, that's a whole other adventure where you have to learn a new bag. You kind of have that leg up where you don't have to learn your new discs. But do you have a like a dedicated practice routine this off season, or are you kind of the type that just like play as many rounds, keep the game fresh, maybe learn a new trick or two?
So I up to this point till I got down here, it had been so cold back home that it's almost not worth going out because your hands get so cold that you can't even putt like in
Mm-hmm.
10 minutes. So like the only practice I was getting was in rounds, and so far I just try to putt a lot during my rounds and
Mm-hmm.
throw. You know, I'm throwing extra shots and mainly working on forehand right now. Um, Obviously because of Maple Hill, but I mean, anyway, I'm actually gonna
uh,
head to Rick's. He lives in Arizona,
mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna go. I get to take Molly this year. For the first time. Yeah, she quits her job at the end of this month,
Oh wait,
and
full time tour? She's going on tour full time?
for the most part, yeah, she's gonna fly home. We have a kitty back home that we
Mm-hmm.
got to still, you know,
Yeah,
she's yeah. So she's gonna fly home every once in a while, and but she'll be out there, and she's never really traveled much at all. So she's so excited, and I'm so excited that she gets to be there and experience all this, you know, because I feel bad a lot of the times because she's not with me, and you
mm-hmm.
know, I get like even down here right now, she's still at work, and I'm in Florida, and like yesterday we went scuba diving with my buddy. Yeah, and like she really wanted to do that, so I'm like, well, I'm gonna bring her down, you know. But
Mm-hmm.
when I go out early to out west, Rick and I are gonna do a lot of field work and you know, hit the putting green and work on work on some stuff.
Yeah, Rick's always good for like a 6 week boot camp before the season start. Really like
Yeah.
getting it back in and like putting the pedal to the metal on the practice.
Yep.
Are
Exactly.
does he kind of last question on this. Does he have an extra bedroom for you, or are you like going Rick style where you're like sleeping on a love seat in the corner or something?
No, he's got a bedroom for us. Yeah.
Okay, okay, good. I was gonna say that would be classic Ricky to like have a one bedroom and invite people out and they're like sleeping in a cot on the side or something.
No, Rick got a nice house this off season, and it's
Nice.
I've seen, yeah, on FaceTime and stuff. It's pretty sick.
Nice, nice, nice. Good for him. Well, about sounds about right, honestly, with the way that disc golf finances are going.
Well, it's about time. Like Rick is so tight on spending money on anything. You're talking about the guy who still is driving around in his 2010 Pontiac. Like,
Yeah. After he signed the multi-million dollar deal.
yeah, like come on.
Yeah. No, I love it. I love it. Hey, that's Rick though, and you know what? He's pure. That's what we love
And
about Rick.
he's you don't get anything fake with Rick. That's for sure.
Exactly. Well, Corey, that's pretty much all I have on my list here for the interview. But I wanted to give you a chance to shout out the fans, or say anything to the supporters out there, people pulling for you out there in YouTube land.
I just want to thank everybody who has supported me over the years, my parents, and all the fans in West Virginia and around the country, even from the family I've made everywhere. It's in disc golf, we're all family, I feel like, and that's what I love about this. And follow me on Instagram, Facebook. Hopefully this year I'm going to start up a YouTube channel. Nothing's set in stone, but we could be leaning that way with Molly on the road. But that's all I got.
Perfect. Yeah, like he said, check him out on socials at Instagram. He is a chain antagonist, which is directly below his image right there. But that's all I have for this interview. If you folks at home would like coverage of all things disc golf, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Sorry, it's super weird. Thank you for checking out the interview, though. I feel like it went super well. Corey's an awesome guy to talk to. But check out On Tour on Disc Golf Network. It's mine and several other people's at the Disc Golf Network's big project this past season. It would do us all a huge solid if you could check it out. So, thanks.